That's right, you can win big on the Awakened Radio Network. Check out our homepage, awakenradio.net, for the latest contests, the latest giveaways. Recently, we've awarded winners just for calling in, just for typing in the chat room, just for making a comment in our forum. All sorts of gifts, heirloom seeds, e-books, and many more prizes are on the way. Right now, you can make a huge difference with $1 by going to awakenedradio.net. There on the homepage, you'll see the graphic and the information about your donation of $1 can not only help the station, not only help open you up to Thrival Energy, but it places your name in a drawing to win a full 1-hour Thrival session with Donna Devane. This is a $100 value for $1. Come on, make a difference for $1. Win prizes. Join us in our live chat room. Call in on our live shows. Add comments to our forums. You can win. Every week there's a new winner, and a lot of times there's new winners every night. Join us for Live Talk Radio on the best online talk radio station anywhere in the world, Awakened Radio Network at awakenradio.net. Or if you can't make it to our website, listen on your mobile device. I love you.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ragozzine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's 10 p.m., August 8th, 2013, and we're live. Welcome to Your Unfolding Senses. I'm Rob Ragozzine, your host, author, and explorer. Your Unfolding Senses is all about opening to your own inner wisdom, and we're all intuitive. On this show, we regularly talk about tools and techniques for centering, connecting inward, and learning to truly listen, with a focus on helping you to find methods that, of course, will work for you. Feel free to call in and ask questions or comment on what works for you. You might also ask about tarot, numerology, dreams, or intuition, or wealth and money, which we're discussing tonight. You can join us in the chat room at awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab, or you can join us live on the air by adding Awakened Radio to Skype or dial 334-649-7204. Now, as you may already know, we're all about connecting to your intuition, your inner life, and your heart. Essentially, finding a way to slow down and connect inward and listen to your inner guidance. No matter age, background, or ideology, we're making room in your life for your inner voice to shine through. And many of us simply haven't found a way yet to slow down and hear the messages that are already coming to us in our life. You might often notice, for instance, numbers or synchronicities or coincidences or other patterns. And we talk about how to do that here. Thanks for tuning in to Awakened Radio. If you missed the other shows on the network, please make time for those as well. Those are all very good. And you can find the schedule by clicking on top page, schedule tab at awakenedradio.net. And as you're listening, you can use this time as an opportunity to suspend any doubt or disbelief about intuition, at least for the next hour. We'll make time to connect inward, listen to our hearts, and begin to pay attention to the needs of our heart. And gradually, this special space can unfold into your outer life. With that in mind, I invite you to take part in meditation, as long as you can safely do this and simply listen. So settling in and finding a comfortable space, and as we're talking about wealth and money tonight, you might have a question in mind as you meditate, like, how can I believe in myself more? Or what is my heart truly calling me to do? Or whatever is appropriate for you about how you might really begin to believe in yourself. And keep that in mind, and perhaps you'll get an answer while we're meditating. Allow for a phrase, a sound, a word or symbol to come to you during the meditation. Whatever comes, that's great. So settling into your space, sitting down comfortably or lying down comfortably, closing your eyes, and gently breathing slowly and comfortably. Releasing any stress or worry from the day, and breathing gently into yourself and your heart. Letting go of any doubts, worries, or stress, and continuing your breath. Let your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace and tranquility. Bring your focus to your heart. You might wonder, what has it been asking for? Allow your awareness of it to deepen as you breathe, and settle into the stillness. Feel all of your senses open, grow, and deepen. Know that this is a special place where you can clearly hear your own inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels. Notice any messages available to you within this space. You might also ask another question now. Your inner ears might hear a word or a phrase. Your inner eyes might see a color, shape, or picture. Your other senses might pick up a fragrance or other sensations. Pay attention to these. If you don't understand what they might mean, ask for deeper clarity, allowing whatever comes to come. But if nothing does, that's okay. Don't force anything to happen. Simply rest in the stillness and inner peace. This could be the very thing your heart has been yearning for. Notice how the rest of your body feels in this time of stillness. Breathe into those parts of your body that feel tight or stressed, allowing yourself to feel comfort in this space and being grateful for it. Know that you can come here anytime. And as we prepare to leave, have and feel gratitude for this connection and any messages you received. And slowly, gently bring your focus back to the room, opening your eyes and gently stretching, coming back to your body. Now, if you received any message there, you might want to record it and use that for your own exploration. Whatever you received, you can use it to tap into your own intuition. So it might have been that you just received a symbol that you're not sure of. Just be comfortable with it and be willing to ask some deeper questions about it. So maybe you received some kind of symbol, maybe you saw a feather, maybe you saw an animal. Simply ask yourself, how did I feel about that animal? How did I feel about that feather? And pay attention to those feelings that come up. And let go of any inner critical voice that says, this is silly, or I can't do that. Just believe that you can. And notice whatever sensations or feelings are connected to the object or message that you received. And if you didn't get anything, again, that's okay, but you might try just picking up a pen and writing down whatever comes to mind. So that might help you to jot something down, and that might stir a memory about a symbol that you had forgotten about receiving, or a dream that you had that you'd forgotten about. Just try that. Try writing down whatever comes to mind. Now, last week we talked about dreams. This week the topic is money and mindfulness. And Donald Trump says, money was never a big motivation for me, except as a way to keep score. The real excitement is playing the game. So we're really trying to connect with the joy, the passion, the excitement of participating in life and following our heart, following its guidance, and finding a way to bring that guidance and the information connected to it into our life. And that's really connected to mindfulness, in that we want to be mindful of how we feel and how we feel directed, and not dismissing that information. Now, you might not think that mindfulness and money go together, but money does occupy a large part of our time. A simple question that you might ask, again, is how do you feel about it? Many of us really just sweep our feelings about money right under the rug. We don't feel like we can talk about it. We don't like to talk about it because we've been told it's rude or impolite. But our goal here is to begin to look under the rug. What's under there? And really that can help us connect to a lot of shadow issues. How we react to money can be very illuminating. Pay special attention to how your body reacts to the thought, feelings, and situations involving money. We can even do this as a personal practice, and that's where mindfulness comes in. Just being aware of how we feel when someone mentions money, when we get triggered around something involving money. For instance, for myself, thinking about my cable or cell phone bill, it kind of annoys me that they want so much money, and I don't need to have them, but it does make it hard to function on a daily basis without them. And they seem to want more and more money for less. But rather than just point the finger outward and blame them, they want it, they want my money, I can look within myself and ask why I'm so upset. And to me, it kind of feels greedy and like I have no choice, no good options at least. And maybe it's my very last dollar, not likely, but it feels like they're almost reaching into my pocket and plucking those dollars out of my wallet. Sort of feel swindled. So I can look at myself where I might not give enough, where I might give too much, to look at those two dichotomies, the balance there, or other areas of my life where I might not be showing up or where I'm not contributing. And it's really up to you to really begin to look at those options for yourself. And it can really stir up a lot of stuff. Money really is a big issue for a lot of people. And that's why we're talking about it tonight. And of course, I always talk about having compassion for yourself. So have compassion as you begin to think about this. And we're not trying to label ourselves. We're not trying to tell ourselves that we're bad or wrong. It's just to notice the feelings that are attached to money. And that's really what we're trying to do here. But the big question here is, we're talking about intuition. How does this all relate to intuition? Well, you know when something doesn't feel right. So instead of building up regret, anxiety, or stress, and really disconnecting from your body, from your heart, from your mind, through depression or medication or alcohol, we really want to ask why we feel the way we feel. And we want to begin to address the situation, to find a solution. And we're often given intuitive guidance that we misinterpret, dismiss, or ignore. So you might be getting dreams that talk about the solution, and you might be ignoring them. You might be getting other life occurrences where people are offering you positions and you're turning them down, for instance. I'm reminded of the story of the man who's given 2 boats and a helicopter as he's in the water drowning, and then he dies and goes to see God, and he says, "Why didn't you help me?" And he says, "Well, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter, but you turned them down." So it's about paying attention to what's available to you and following the guidance. So instead of turning down the first boat and even the second boat, get in. And finding a way to bring joy and happiness into your life. So why do we want to look? We really want to see how our outer life reactions influence our decision making. So if you have a reaction to your own cell phone company, that might make you cringe, it might make you just get really annoyed, and that builds up the blood pressure, and now you're angry, stomping around and mad. And instead of doing that, to begin to wonder, well, why is this happening to me? And we can address the inner issues that come up when we begin to look within ourselves at our reactions, and then we can look for solutions such as being more mindful of our attachments and the reactions. There are people, of course, without cell phones, and I can get rid of mine. It might be uncomfortable and could be difficult, but that is an option. By looking within ourselves, we can also start to slow down. We can meditate regularly, and that might be a good opportunity to have a special space in our homes, clearing the clutter, clearing the mess, and designating a special space where we have time and to really sit down and go within and pay attention to what's really going on. And having a place that's designated for that means that you can't just walk by and ignore it. That's the meditation space. And we might look within ourselves to ask, where can I let go of my need for this attachment, and then perhaps where can I give away money, where can I give away time, where can I volunteer? And recent research has shown that just 2 hours a week really can lead to overall greater happiness, which is pretty neat. So that's only 100 hours a year, but 2 hours a week, and you feel better about yourself. Now, you could do more, and that would be just as good. So why do all this? Well, we spend hours and hours working for it. Why? Do you value your time and efforts? And ultimately, shouldn't we be really inspired by what we're doing? And I'm not talking about saying that you're going to go out and quit your job, but I'm looking at how can you be inspired by what you're doing, by creating something and bringing it into the world. We want to value our work, and we want to look at why we feel so badly when we have to transition from work to enjoying our money. And that's what the money's for, really, is to enjoy it, to pay the cell phone bill, to pay the cable bill, to pay the barber, to pay whatever. It's really transactions. We're really looking at transactions in our life and how you face the day. So when you wake up in the morning, as an exercise, think about how you feel. Does your body expand or contract? Do you engage? Do you feel content? So when you wake up tomorrow morning, try that as an exercise. Look at how you react when the alarm clock or the light wakes you up, whatever you use to wake up. Does the alarm clock wake you up? Does the light wake you up? Do you wake up at your own pace? However you wake up, notice whether you're tightly cringing in a ball or you stretch out your arms and expand and feel ready to take on the day. This is all about noticing how we're stepping into the day, how we're approaching our lives. And the more we contract, the less it's available for us to allow in to ourselves, because we're contracting inward, we're raising our shields, and we're not allowing anything in, and we're holding tightly to everything that's already in, and nothing can move. So we're really talking about having enough, believing that you are enough. So where is your focus? And that's really important, because wherever we're focused, that's where growth can happen. So if you're focused on being creative, you can only get more creative. And if you're focused on not having anything, well, then you don't have any opportunity to allow anything in again. You're constricting. You're pulling yourself in. What are you expressing gratitude for? Where are you content? There must be somewhere that you're happy when you're content, and you can begin to use that to express gratitude for the rest of your life. So even if that's for waking up in the morning, have gratitude for that. And that could be an excellent starting point. Now, Gandhi says, capital as such is not evil. It is in its wrong use that it is evil. Capital in some form or other will always be needed. Now, money really is a representation of value in a transaction. That's it. For many of us, it could be a card, check, or actually money from our wallet. For others, it could be eggs or work we do for someone, whatever. In the past, it was shells or furs, but ultimately, it's a transaction. And really, from a spiritual perspective, it's nothing more than another form of energy. So how do you react when you make your transactions? How do you feel about money? At worst, it has a neutral effect on your life, but it's a tool, and it can be used for good things or not necessarily good things. And it really goes back to you, and to stop, be willing to stop and notice and appreciate what's happening around you. We forget that joy can come into our lives. We forget that we can make happiness a regular part of our lives simply by finding time to laugh each day, to watch a comedy, subscribe to a humor blog, read something funny, tell jokes with friends, whatever it is. We can easily bring more humor, more joy into our lives. And that can help us to begin to feel a little bit better about ourselves. And that's really part of the first step in connecting inward, is to appreciate what you do have. And when you're feeling happy and joy, it's easier to do that. So to notice how you feel while you're making your transactions in the rest of your life, but also to notice what's happening around you. And when you're simply in the moment, when you're enjoying a conversation, you're not necessarily thinking, oh, I can't enjoy this conversation because someone in, somewhere is cold, or unhappy, so I can't be happy myself. No, we wish them well and wish that they can have the same, but we don't experience the same things that they're experiencing in that moment. We enjoy the moment. It's really about being happy, being joyful, and to notice how you feel. And part of that follows through to your transactions. So are you happy? Do you enjoy it? Do you feel like you have enough? Do you feel like you have too much? What is enough? And that's really what it boils down to. Appreciating what we have, feeling joyful. And it's really not about being small and powerless, but being able to relax into what we already have here and now. And you can use your awareness of your transactions, of your money, as a vehicle for spiritual growth in all of your transactions, all of your daily transactions, really. So that's where the mindfulness comes in. The intuition plays a part in that you can begin to notice how you feel in each moment. I'm not saying that you can't feel bad or depressed. That's fine, but you're looking for a greater awareness of yourself and to notice how you feel when someone gives you a compliment, when you have to pay the check, whenever money or a transaction really of any kind is involved. To notice what you do. Do you shrink or do you grow or expand or stay the same? Now, we have 3 minutes or so till break. I'll open up in the second half hour to calls about how you react to your own transactions and money in your own life when we get back, and you can add Awakened Radio to Skype or call in 334-649-7204, and we'll talk about it. Maybe you've been having dreams, as I already mentioned. Maybe you've been having other experiences. Maybe you just feel powerless to affect any change in your life at all. But there is guidance coming to you, and we can talk about that. And the first guidance really is noticing what's happening in your body now. What's happening with your breath, what's happening with your emotions, what's happening with interactions. And use that as a teacher, as a guide, and you'll see what's just by noticing whether you're expanding or contracting, you'll know how you're reacting to your own money situations. And that's what we're really talking about. Using money as a personal practice, and this can bring up a lot of issues, of course, so have compassion for yourself. And we're not trying to make you wrong or bad or label you. We're simply trying to shine a light on how you react to your own money situations, and to notice how much is enough, what's enough, what do you feel like you're enough to value yourself, to have self-worth. And secondarily, to notice the parts of us that crave for more. And how can we adapt and to notice all of this? And then once you begin to notice, you'll be able to recognize when you feel trapped, when you feel isolated, like there's no solution for you, and then you can begin to look within yourself for the answers, because that's really where they are. You have to be willing to let down your shields, take off the mask, and look within. And it's break time, and we'll talk about this when we get back.
Awakened Radio at awakenradio.net is truly a people-powered radio station. We are self-supported by our hosts, our staff, and you, our listeners. Thank you so much for joining us at the website and clicking our donate button, which you can find above the chat room, as well as sprinkled throughout several of the pages. Join us at awakenradio.net. Be the difference, walk the difference, live the difference. It is time for a new paradigm, and that is all of us working together as one to create the experiences that we all want to experience. Thank you for your love and support of the Awakened Radio family at awakenedradio.net.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to Your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio. I'm your host, Ragozzine. This show is all about opening to and listening to your full intuitive capabilities. I offer tips and techniques such as meditation, dream work, and more for relaxing and connecting to your intuition. I'm on the air Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, helping you to connect to your own inner wisdom. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends. And we're back. And if you'd like to call in, add Awakened Radio to Skype or call 334-649-7204 or join us here in the chat room at awakenradio.net and click on the live chat tab and feel free to ask a question. We're talking about really noticing ourselves and mindfully paying attention to our reactions around money and transactions. And for me, this is where I know I can learn a lot about myself. I feel that I have enough, and I'm looking at what I'm willing to let go of, and I've been noticing a lot of things that I like to collect, like books and gadgets. Not big gadgets necessarily, but those are the big ones. Not that I have a house full of them, but they are things that I like to collect, and I have books that I picked up at tag sales and whatnot that I had an intention to read, but I've never read them. I noticed that I have some things also, especially tech-related, that I've never used either, and I've given away them. Recently, I was clearing a bookshelf, and I found one of those internet video streaming doodads. It was new in the box, and I had never used it. And I gave it to a friend. And for me, this connects really to the voice that wants more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more. But I never used this object, never opened the box. The same thing with the books I got at the sales. It's not necessarily even about the value of something. It's noticing the wanting, what needs to be filled in my own life, what needs to be filled, I guess, in your life. Secondarily, I remembered my original goal with the video streaming thing was to sidestep the need for the TV cable and the bill. I don't watch TV every day and thought the gizmo would help, which brought my awareness and my thoughts about the cable company into view, but I never used it, so I guess I don't need it. And I guess that lets go of the need to want to have that, because I don't need the cable TV either, since I'm not using it, which is pretty funny. But anyway, you have to have the ability to look inward to be able to do that kind of analysis. And again, it's not making yourself wrong or bad. The first question that you might ask is, where are you the most out of balance? And I guess here for me, I was thinking, I can sidestep the the cable people, and they're laughing at me because here I am still paying their cable bill anyway. But to notice where the monetary feature is. So are you most out of balance with saving, with spending, with perhaps having a zero balance on the credit cards, or having a high balance? And then you can notice what type of personality characteristics are predominant within you. So if you're a saver, you might not necessarily be a person that likes to give, likes to donate because you want to bring everything in. I'm not saying that's you necessarily, but there's overbalance for people that like to save. For instance, you might think of the people that are way, way, way overbalanced are the people on shows, those hoarding shows on TV. And so then you might look, well, if I'm a saver, to ask, where am I not satisfied? And if you make a promise to yourself, can you keep it? For instance, if you say, I'll change my current habits, will you be able to? Not necessarily if you're never satisfied with what you have. And that's where gratitude comes into play. Really paying attention to what you do have and being happy and satisfied with it. And really noticing that. And many people, of course, are savers. But if you're a spendthrift and you're out of balance there, then you might never be satisfied with what you buy. So to notice that within yourself, and to notice what needs you're trying to fill there. Are you trying to feel as good as the neighbors, as good as your family, as good as the commercials? And you know it's never true, because as soon as you have that object, there's another object that's coming up in the next commercial that you want. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting. It's simply showing a space in your heart that needs to be filled. It might not be that object, likely not, but it's some emotion, some need that isn't being met. And to address that, it really requires that we go within ourselves and ask ourselves, what do we need? Maybe it's tenderness, maybe it's compassion, maybe it's a belief in our abilities to be creative. And that can be very helpful. Now, how do you behave around money? Are you content? What happens in conversations? You're likely fine where you are and accepting of the fact that you have enough, but are you aware of what we've been talking about? Do you notice when you cringe when someone brings up a topic that you're not comfortable with? Do you walk away? What happens? And notice what tender spots the topic touches within yourself. And perhaps you can begin to look at these behaviors and see what they're covering up. They might be covering up something that needs to be addressed. Maya Angelou says, you can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing, and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you. So that's what I'm talking about. By being creative, you're really addressing many of the inner needs that aren't being met. You're listening to your heart, and you're creating something that it's calling for you to do. That might be a physical object, but it might also be creating a movement or some place for people to go or something else. You never know. Whatever you feel that needs to be brought out into the world, that's really what Maya is talking about and I'm talking about when I'm speaking about being creative. And ultimately, can't say this enough. It's really about taking our awareness into our body, and then in that moment when you begin to see what you've been covering up within yourself, then that's where the creativity can rush out, where you can be less anxious, more open, and you've learned something about yourself. For myself, when I have a setback or feel intruded on, especially from a monetary sense, and I've been talking about the cell phone bill and the cable bill, I feel that in my solar plexus. It feels restricting, limiting. It feels like they, the cable cell phone people, again, want to reach in and take my wallet, shake out the cash, take the credit cards, burn it, whatever. It's not true, but they need to make money too, and it brings up issues of enough for me and probably many people. But the question then is, how much would be enough for them to charge and that I'd be satisfied with? What's fair? We could get lost in those questions, but I'm really talking about connecting with the feelings you have and I have. What are they connected to on a deeper level, and being willing to pay attention to them? And one way to address this begins by sitting down and slowing down to meditate, hence having a special place to meditate, and also believing that at least in the current moment you're enough. You're comfortable, you're sitting in a comfortable place. It really starts here. And then having a willingness to continue to observe and look within yourself. And that's where the meditating helps, as it provides a space to connect into the parts of your body that feel tight, feel restricted, limited, and ask, why is this? Is it connected to self-value and or self-worth or money? And for me, I guess it's really the self-worth, because I know that there's more out there for me, but I'm cringing because of these people. And really it's accepting that, yeah, they probably want too much, but that's okay. I'll make more. Now, when you're looking at your own cell phone bill or credit card statement, just notice how it makes you feel. But we're not trying to make ourselves feel bad. But notice just what happens typically when you begin to look at them. And we wanted to ask, as we've been doing, why? Why is it that our stomachs tighten when we think about money? Is the cell phone company taking food off your table? Likely not. Are they preventing you from enjoying your life? Again, likely not. But there's an unconscious thought that that's exactly what they're doing. Oh, they took my money, now I can't use it to be happy. But that's not true. You can create more opportunities for happy. You can be happy in this moment. But we're looking for what's unconscious. What's our shadow material? What are you not willing to think about? And really, from here, there's tremendous space and room to explore. So what do we avoid? Do we avoid slowing down our spending? Do we avoid volunteering or thinking about others and giving and philanthropy? Do we mismanage our investments? Do we avoid creating a better world? And do we become cynics? So to look at some of these things, I'm sure there's other things that you might look at that you avoid, but really those are some of the big ones. So right now, creating a better world is a big issue for lots of people, and many of us are becoming cynics, because no matter what anyone does, someone's going to say, oh, that's only a few people, and they're not going to affect change at all, or everyone's out against us, or whatever. So It's really looking at ourselves and asking, well, what changes am I willing to do for myself? Now, I'm really interested in how things work, and I have a strong pull from the technology world to upgrade my computer and tinker with it and, make changes every 6 months or so. And there's a strong pull to do that, to have all the latest gear and gadgets, like I mentioned before, mainly so I don't have to worry about the old problems and software compatibility. But there's new problems, of course, but they might not have been discovered yet. It's the perfect setup, really. So I want whatever's perfect now. I'm looking for, that's the yearning that I have. This could be really a car or a house or clothes for someone else. That space needs to be filled. How do you do it? And of course, I've mentioned that I bought things, that books, gadgets, never used. Why? I guess just having them felt good. But then the books, I might not read them. On to the next book, even before I started the first book. And in that sense, it's a connection to the need to have more. So, being willing to ask, well, why? Why do I want more? What's this need? Maybe the need could be represented of some person in your life, and you can do a meditation. That could be a good exercise. So if money was a person, or maybe alien creature, what would it look like? Can you draw a picture and talk with it? And that might be a great exercise to try. So meet your money person or object or creature and talk with it. And this can be a great practice. So to just spend maybe 5 minutes and say, well, why are you so hungry? And how can I satisfy you? And by working in that way, it might not feel so tender. It might allow you to see an aspect of yourself that you haven't seen before. And for me, what comes up is really connecting to the need to try new things, to have it has a taste for newness, just because it's unique and other people don't have it yet, so I'm unique. So really that's kind of silly, because we're already ourselves and we're already unique. So that, and I'm not labeling myself as silly, but I'm looking at it as sort of chasing my tail, and not saying that's bad or good, but to be unique when I'm already unique, there's no need to fill that need. Now, with our transactions, something that might be a little deeper, a little more searching, is to look at how our decisions can bring harm. So what if by holding back our money, we're somehow limiting ourselves or influencing others to do the same? So if you're a big saver, what happens when you just keep saving? At some point you have to ask yourself, what am I saving for? Or what if you're just not ever have a vision of using it? To look at the full impact of your decision. What if we invest in ourselves and then let ourselves shine? Will that influence others to do the same? And I guess the reverse is, if you don't hold back and keep spending, does that mean that others will expect you to constantly give to them and not give anything back to you. So there's the two sides of the coin, and we can really see both of those types of influences in the world today. And that leads us to looking at our expectations, especially around money and transactions. What do you expect to just happen? A lot of times, to build up wealth, you need to invest your money. And for many, this is really an opportunity to ask, what have I felt drawn towards? What do I want with my life? And that's the big question. So what am I investing in? What am I not investing in? So it's not just a simple question of whether or not you want to spend money or not. It begins to also rotate around to where am I investing my time, energy, and resources. It's more than a mere transaction. It boils down to a lot of different things, including what you want to create for yourself. And what are you creating? So to look at your commitments, to look at your leisure time, and to begin to wonder how you might shift your life to allow for these things to have value as well, because they also have worth and value in your life. So how do we begin to discover what needs to be healed? Well, again, we're talking about using money as a personal practice. So in your meditation, you can bring to your awareness what you're thinking or feeling about money and just notice it. That's all. And be willing to, of course, as we've been talking about, to look at your decisions to see how you're directing your time and energy. And just bring your personal awareness tools into use around money, and this could be volunteerism or exercise or different types of meditation or learning to have a voice for yourself or creating something that's important to you or any number of things. But it's really to look at how you're investing yourself and how you're investing your time within the world. And as an exercise, you might like to ask, what would happen if you were in your own movie, like the Richard Pryor one called, I think it's Brewster's Millions? Can you imagine that? How would you spend all that money? Could you spend all that money? What roles would you step into if that was your life? Would you be able to direct it to the right resources? And in the movie, he had to really just spend it without any concerns by a certain time period. And he just invested in some silly nonsense in some cases. So to really think about that for yourself, so all of a sudden, a relative you never knew just gives you millions and millions of dollars. What do you do with it? So, ultimately, we're not, again, trying to label ourselves, but just to notice the primary way in which you interact and respond to money. So is that by spending it, by giving it, by saving it? Those are really three of the primary roles that most of us step into. But there's other roles. So you might have a role such as being the Scrooge type, where you're very alert and prudent around money and have excessive anxiousness and have to do research all the time. And then there's the kind of Donald Trump-like person who wants their money to have enduring value, who's a workaholic, but then your relationships suffer and perhaps you want to be everyone to see you as unique and larger than life. I guess I have some of that within myself, as I did the first exercise about the meeting my money person. So to look at, is that in you, and how can you satisfy some of these needs? And really, there's more work that you can do there, so to gradually find ways to pay attention to that within yourself. And you can contact me if you have any questions about this. We're coming to the end of the show, so thanks for listening tonight, and keep in mind that you can come to my website to find the way around awakenradio.net. You can go to intuitionbyrob.net, click on the media tab, find my forum page where you can read about past shows and also make comments and questions, and my show page where you can listen to past shows, Awaken Radio Store, my Facebook and Twitter pages. And I'm also looking for a sponsor for my show, so you would give me and the station a 30-second audio about your business, and that will be played at the start, middle, and end of the show. And then when we archive our shows, they'll be in iTunes forever, so your ad will be broadcast as long as anyone listens to the show. Additionally, we're looking for donations to the station if you're so inclined and you've enjoyed our shows. They're always greatly appreciated. We're here at no cost to you, so please find it in your heart to click the donate button at the top of many of the screens on Awakened Radio. And we're building our Thrive magazine for, I guess, a August release. So by August 10th is the deadline. If you have an article, art, or poetry about spiritual health, well-being, creativity, whatever it is, we can gladly accept it in the magazine, and we'll provide a link to your website to help promote your business or person. And that's great if you have any articles or poetry to contribute. And I didn't get to talk about it, but I have a book on Amazon called Your Life Counts, which is all about listening to your heart and doing what you feel guided to do. So following your life path and really creating what you feel called to create in the outer world. And that's available on Amazon, and really is about a lot of the principles here I was talking about tonight, with addressing how you feel about money and connecting inward and truly trying to find a way to not only address what your reactions to money are covering up, but to heal them and to live a life that matters to you. And that's really the goal of looking at how we're reacting to money anyway. So, Oprah Winfrey says, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. And that's really ultimately what I've been talking about all night. Finding what there is in your life to celebrate, and celebrating and honoring your life, and truly finding more joy and more acceptance of yourself and leading a life that matters. So, again, if you have any questions about what we're talking about, money, mindfulness, tuning into yourself, then please do contact me at intuitionbyrob.net or on Twitter at intuitionbyrob, and I'll gladly work with you and help you to come to a conclusion. So thank you for joining us this evening. Next week I'll be back at 10 p.m. Eastern with a new topic. Thank you.
We're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are awakened. Come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a leader.